Am I the a-hole for telling my parents they deserve to be kicked out of my sister's wedding? This is a throwaway account, as my brother is on Reddit and I don't want him knowing my real account name. So, my brother Mike, 35M, is a knob. Always has been and always will be. He has been babied to the point of uselessness by our mum and dad, and that has turned him into an entitled slob. When he was younger, he showed promise playing rugby, which led our mum and dad to believe he was going to be a superstar. The problem was that he never had the work ethic to fully fulfill his potential. However, this still made him the golden boy of the family, and he could do no wrong in my parents' eyes. He was a bully at school, which they brushed off as other kids making up lies, but he was an even bigger bully at home, especially toward our younger sister Kelly, 31F. He would constantly prank her, which really meant doing anything he could to embarrass her. This included things like pulling her dress up in front of the entire family at a wedding when she was 15. Mum and Dad said it was just siblings being siblings, but the rest of the family was mortified by his behavior. I tried to stick up for my sister, and it worked to a certain extent, but after I went away to university, there wasn't much I could do. Mum and Dad don't listen to anyone. It got so bad that when Kelly was 18, she gave up going to her dream university, St. Andrews, and instead moved to London to attend Imperial College London. This shocked all of us, as she had talked about St. Andrews since she started high school at 11. When I asked why, she said St. Andrews was too close to home and she would be expected to come back often, but if she went to London, she would only have to come home for Christmas. This broke my heart. After she left, she did exactly that. The only times she came home were at Christmas and for my wedding. This really annoyed our parents, who said she was abandoning the family. I kept my mouth shut and let them complain occasionally because I didn't want an argument. After graduating, our parents expected her to move back home, but she didn't. She got a job in southern England and stayed there. For reference, we're from Scotland. 6 years ago, Kelly met a great guy, Jake, 30M. The day she met him, she called me gushing about him, and I've honestly never heard her speak about anyone the way she does about him. I've met him several times when visiting Kelly, and he's great, good-looking, funny, has a great job, his family is lovely, and most importantly, he treats Kelly like she hung the moon. It's very cute. After meeting Jake, she cut down how much she came home even more. She spent her first Christmas with his family, and then the pandemic happened, so she didn't come home for 3 years. Her first Christmas back, Mike started his usual nonsense, trying to be the center of attention. When that didn't work, because most of the family was more interested in getting to know Jake, he tried to prank Kelly. He grabbed a large bowl of water and was about to pour it over her. Jake saw what was happening and stepped in front of Kelly, telling Mike not to even think about it. Side note, Jake is 6 feet 3 inches and has been doing martial arts since he was 4, so he can be very intimidating when needed. Mum and Dad tried to play it off as a harmless prank, but Jake wasn't having it. Mike started whining about it just being a prank, and Jake told him that if he pranked Kelly one more time, Jake would prank him by putting his foot up his arse and his fist down his throat. Kelly and Jake left about an hour later, and after that, Mike, Mum, and Dad all had an issue with Jake. Kelly hasn't been back home since. That brings us to now. Kelly and Jake are getting married. They sent out invitations in February for an August wedding. However, they did not invite Mike. Mum and Dad are obviously furious about this and had a huge argument with Kelly. They threatened not to attend, and Kelly simply said that was fine and that she would have our granddad walk her down the aisle. I went around to my parents' house on Saturday with my kids. Immediately, my mum started complaining about Kelly and the wedding. I listened for a while before I'd had enough. I asked her what she actually expected. She and Dad have allowed Mike to be the golden child and get away with everything. Because of that, he can't keep a relationship. He believes everyone should do everything for him. He can't hold down a job because every job is beneath him. He still lives at home with 0 prospects in life. He's a man-child and a bully, and I don't trust him around my children unsupervised. He bullied Kelly throughout most of her teenage years, and her only escape was moving over 400 miles away and never coming home. My mum went very quiet and then asked me to leave. A few hours later, my dad called, furious, saying I had upset my mum and that I was taking the side of an ungrateful little girl instead of my parents, who gave me everything. This turned into a huge argument where I told him he had been a terrible dad to Kelly and didn't deserve to walk her down the aisle. I've just had enough. Now extended family members are telling me I went too far because my mum is barely speaking to anyone and keeps crying. My granddad said it was about time someone told them off, but my grandma is upset by all the arguing. So, am I the a-hole for telling my parents they are bad parents and deserve to be excluded from my sister's wedding? Final update. Hi everyone. This post blew up a lot more than I expected. There were far too many comments to respond to individually, but I tried to read all of them. I was asked for an update, so here it is. There were a few recurring points, so I'll address them first. First, the pranks only started after I left for university. When we were younger, Mike would say things to Kelly, and I would snap back at him, but it wasn't anything beyond that. Once I left home, things escalated, and there wasn't much I could do. I did speak to our parents, but they were useless. Second, regarding my kids. I didn't bring them around my parents very often because they didn't like going there. They said it was boring and that they didn't like Mike. After reading the comments, I sat them down and asked again. My daughter said it's just boring and that Mike is a weirdo. My son, however, said he doesn't like being around my dad because dad keeps trying to force him to play rugby. I had heard those comments before and told my dad to stop, but I didn't realize how upsetting it was for my son. My son hates sports, playing or watching. He's a Pokemon kid who plays online and goes to a tournament at our local card shop every Thursday evening. Rugby is an absolute no-go for him. Third, about wedding security, I spoke to Kelly and Jake said two of his groomsmen are police officers who are aware of the situation, so that won't be an issue. Lastly, about Mike being the golden child. He wasn't always the favorite, it started once his rugby talent became apparent. After that, he was special, and our parents treated him that way. I think they saw his talent as a way to feel special themselves within the family. Today, I decided to sit down with my parents and tell them I needed a break from them. My dad immediately demanded I apologize to my mom, but I said that wasn't happening. After some back and forth, my mom asked why I was there if I wasn't going to apologize. I told them I had spoken to Kelly and that she didn't want them at the wedding at all. They weren't happy, but they said they wouldn't go where they weren't wanted. I then told them I needed space until after the wedding because I couldn't keep being around them and biting my tongue. I thought space would be good for all of us. My mom brought up seeing my kids. I told them the truth, my kids hate going to their house. I explained exactly why my son doesn't want to be around my dad. My dad got upset and said rugby would be good for him. I shut that down and said I will not force my son to do something he hates. I also told him that if he mentions rugby to my son again, he won't see him anymore. For now, they will only see my kids at family events. I then asked them what their long-term plan is for Mike. Are they planning to keep things the same until they're 90, with Mom still cooking all his meals? What happens when they're gone? Who will look after him? It won't be me. Kelly lives down south, and I plan to move 3 hours away to my husband's hometown once the kids leave home. They stared at me blankly. I don't think they had ever thought about it. I told them they had set Mike up to fail, and now they had to deal with the consequences. I also told them I knew they were leaving everything to Mike in their will, but with how they've raised him, he would blow through that money in less than a year. I saw panic in my mom's eyes when I said that. After explaining what low contact would look like going forward, I left. I'll check in occasionally, but that's it for now. I'm visiting Kelly in the next couple of weeks, and I'm really looking forward to it. My extended family has backed off after I sent a group text saying that if they were so concerned about my mom, they were welcome to support her and deal with Mike the way Kelly and I have for years. Unsurprisingly, none of them wanted to. For now, I'm going to get on with life as normal. Thanks to everyone who gave a not the a-hole verdict and shared advice, it opened my eyes to a few things I'd been brushing off. Quick update, hi all, sorry I went MIA, but I've been super busy, not with this issue, but just with life in general. So Kelly got married last weekend and everything went without a hitch. Our parents and Mike didn't even try to attend, but I know that Mom did try and contact her a few times before the wedding via other family member. Kelly wasn't interested and made that clear by not responding and or threatening the family member that they would be uninvited as well. That put an end to it. Mike is still a drain on society according to a cousin of ours. I don't know firsthand as I've not been in contact with him at all. I've spoken to Mom and Dad once since the last post and they haven't changed, so I don't have the energy to deal with them. My kids don't miss them one bit either, so it's not been a problem keeping the kids away from them. Right now, I'm just going to get on with my life with my husband and kids. I've been talking to Kelly a lot more since all of this, which is a huge positive to come out of it. Sorry that there were no dramatics, like Mike and our parents trying to storm the wedding, but everything went smoothly. Thanks for all the comments and advice in my previous posts. Some progress update. Hi all, I said I would update if anything changed and something has started too. I think my mom has finally woke up and seen the light when it comes to Mike. It was my son's birthday 2 weeks ago and my mom reached out to say she had got him some presents. I was a little reluctant to accept the presents as in the past they've all been rugby based, but she promised that they weren't this time, so I let her come around to my house and give them to my son. Turns out my son is easily bought lol. A friend of my mum's had gone to Seoul on holiday in October and my mum had asked her to bring back some Pokemon cards if she could find any. My son loves Asian Pokemon cards and has a whole separate binder just for them. She brought back 20 packs back for him. My mum also got him a Pokemon backpack and a Teddy and Funko Pop of his favorite Pokemon. She had really put a lot of thought into what he likes and even gone to our local card shop and asked there about what to get him. Needless to say, my son was ecstatic. To me, this showed that she was really trying, and after that, I agreed to meet her for lunch a few days later. She told me that her and my dad were fighting all the time because of Mike. She had put her foot down and said that Mike needs to get a job and stick with it, and that she isn't going to give him any more money. My dad defended Mike, no surprise there, and said he just needed more time to find himself. This had led to loads of arguments and my mum going on strike. She isn't cooking for either my dad or Mike and isn't doing their washing or ironing. This is something she had done before when she was royally pissed off. She said that I was right when I told her that they weren't helping Mike by babying him and he needed to grow up. I was a little shocked by this, but very happy about it. I'm speaking to her regularly again and she seems to be adamant about Mike getting and keeping a job. I'm still a little reluctant to trust her fully as she could very easily go back to how she was before, but I'm calling this a little bit of progress. My dad still has his head up his arse though, no change there. Anyway, I had a spare 10 minutes and thought I'd keep you all updated. We will see how Christmas goes and if my mum backs down, but fingers crossed she has turned the corner.